Curie helped me like know how to walk a hall with straight like dignity, and you know, basically I can be like untouched by like negativity and things that will like stop me from moving on.
So I went into education because I was a dreamer, an undocumented student. Part of that, as I see my work shift, I see myself now as a dream keeper. And I see that being part of my responsibility to ensure that the families who have entrusted us with their students, that I protect those dreams and that they are able to be successful.
So I believe, and Curie really believes, that every student needs to be nurtured and developed for their whole self as an adolescent. And the previous way discipline was handled at Curie was at odds with this approach, because it didn't give students the chance to learn from their decisions, the chance to learn from their mistakes, and the chance to be supported in growing into a better version of themselves.
This is a very diverse school. We have 3,000 students in this school that come from different neighborhoods, different cultures, different backgrounds.
I have been at Curie for 15 years, 10 of those as a teacher. And during that time, you know, I'd be in the classroom and I'd see the police walk out students through the hallway. It disrupted the learning environment, it disrupted what we were trying to do in class.
So when I got here, no fault of any individual, I noticed students getting punished, getting reprimanded, being disciplined for behaviors that were not ideal, but these are children at the end of the day, and our job is to teach them and support them.
The way that schools handled discipline before, and specifically here at Curie, because I also graduated from Curie, was very punitive. Was just like, hey, you are wrong, you did this wrong, this is your consequence, go home.
I believe if a student makes a mistake or makes a poor decision, they should be issued a consequence. They should learn from that experience, but they don't need to be issued a record. A police record is not something someone should walk out of high school with.
If you ever want to actually fix behavior, if you actually want the student to make better choices in the future, you have to recognize what were the gaps there, what didn't the student know that led to the problem, and then how do I get those skills to that student before it happens again.
So we started collaborating and pulling pieces of, well, if this works at this school, how might it work differently or similarly here to Curie High School? We visited other schools, we welcomed other schools here, we collaborated over the phone and just informally in different ways with other schools, and had consultants come in and work with us in different capacities through grants, through training, through partnerships.
So the work at Curie had to be about mindsets. Part of that was making sure that people understood what the Curie way was. The Curie way is about being open-minded and kind and making sure that we are supportive of students.
Our office isn't linked to just a consequence. It is a space you can be supported in, you will be supported in, and you are always welcome. So there is no need for a situation for you to come in and say hello or discuss something that you need advice with or help with.
I talked to them as another young adult, right? I didn't talk down at them. I provided an ear for them to listen to, hey, come talk to me, what's wrong? Rather than trying to, hey, good in class and that's it. It goes beyond that, right? Like, hey, I see that you're struggling. I see that you're wandering the hallways. Is there something on your mind you're going through something? Can talk to me. Let's have that conversation.
I could definitely say we think twice about our decisions, or what we're about to say, or how we are going to approach a situation. Whether it's an argument with a friend, we think twice about what we're going to say because we know we're going to think out of anger.
The biggest change we saw was the ownership in students of their own behavior and that of their peers, of the culture of the school. They wanted Curie to be the school they deserved. They wanted Curie to be a safe space. And I specifically remember a moment in second semester when the deans came to me and were able to share that we were proactively able to sort of quell a tension between students and essentially avoid a major fight happening in the building. And in that moment, realizing that students trusted us, that if they could come to us and say, hey, we have a problem, and maybe we didn't make the best decision, but now we want support in making a better decision so it doesn't go awry, that was a major culture shift.
You start to see it in the way students interact with each other, how adults talk to students when they're passing in the hallways, how they're interacting with students in the classroom, how we greet students when we arrive. And it's the type of expectations we set about being hardworking, determined, kind, but also being responsible.
Our behavioral health team was developed, early on from nothing. So we are a larger school. We had to really develop even our referral systems and how we support students. So our behavioral health team is trying to do a little more to bring awareness to our staff and also bring in that triage and our trauma support.
We had a student in crisis. They're in the 3rd floor lunchroom.
Refer to BHT, the first person maybe that approached the students.
Once we know what the students' supports are needed, then we have something ready to go for them when they come in tomorrow.
We really started looking at it as it should be run, really as a group of people that get together and look at at-risk students and making sure that the support wraps around them. So deans are members of the behavioral health team, counselors are members of the behavioral health team, attendance office has a representative, and community partners. So we're looking at at-risk students through the lens of everybody who could possibly support them. So we're having one concentrated discussion and we're not having to run to the different departments after the fact like previously.
Curie is a better school as a result of these changes because we're moving towards being the school our students deserve. And I say that a lot, but what I mean is when they walk in the door, they get to be their true selves. They get to feel safe and supported. And they do have a space where they can make mistakes.
Curie is a school that has identified a process that's proactive, supportive, and really gets to the root of the issue. You see that they've built a culture, a climate that really embodies the entire school. We know that every school community has unique situations. So we know that this process is not a one-size-fits-all. And we also understand that some schools have a lot of challenges that other schools don't have. We want to make sure that we are giving schools the support that they need in order to make sure that they can keep their children and their school communities safe.